Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. How the heck are ya? I had a hell of a night last night. Real big fun. I went out to a show, a little rock concert, a little metal show. Band was Baroness. It was just them at the Southgate Revival House. Um, it was just like little nice little 4x4 square room. I don't know, fits like I don't know how many people, but it was nice and cozy, real sweaty. It was fun. It was cool. Definitely reminded me like what it's like to really be out at a like show and like be in the vibe and jumping around a little bit and shit. It was cool. It was lit. Um, I will say I got a little bit of a food corner. Um, Initially I was going to go up and the idea was to do Hopper House, but got up there hella busy. It was like no shot. Like the wait was gonna be like ridiculous. So we went to like this bar place. I want to say it's like called Jeremy's or something with a J. And so we got there and I hadn't eaten like all day. And I picked this thing that was called half baked. Essentially, it was like slices of sourdough bread, pickled onions, which I've never had before. And I was like, oh my gosh, they were so good. And then it also had pesto and butter. And so I was just eating that, drinking beer and wine. It was nice. It was nice. And then after I got really slutty and I went to Burger King and I tried the new Whopper Melt with bacon. The sandwich was good. But I gotta stop doing this thing that I've done since I was a kid. I always loved the onion rings, but the onion rings are so dog shit now. They're literally like eating knuckles. It's not fun eating. It's not fun. It doesn't taste good. I also got the I wanted the spicy chicken sandwich that they have, and they weren't making it. Their chicken machine broke. But I got chicken nuggets, which was a dreadful mistake. It's like eating just raw animal, not raw. It's like it's just eating like weird parts. It didn't taste like chicken for real. Bummed me out. But we move on and maybe a nice little breakfast today, a little bagel burger. So yeah, we're doing good. We're feeling good. Had a good time. I think I also realized why I was so rough. The night before when I was doing my little north side crawl, I was smoking some cigarettes. And I'm 31 now, so that shit be hitting a little harder than it used to, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, we can get into it. Let's talk about the news. I got an update on Dominic Taddeo. They got him. He didn't make it long. He was apprehended without incident in Hialeah, I guess that's how they pronounce it, in Miami-Dade County around 11 a.m. So, it is what it is. He had a good run. I imagine there'll probably be another update in terms of like maybe like how much he's gonna get resentenced or whatever. Just real bonehead move because like we had mentioned before, he was gonna be out like I think within a year or something like that. If he just waited it out, he was in a halfway house, like he just needed to finish the process. But he got that fever, and I guess he needed to run. But in some other news, this isn't Ukraine stuff, but it is kind of like war related, just because we're talking about missiles. But got this from and also that update was from CNN. You'd find that on the CNN.com. But got this from Reuters. UK, US, Australia agree to work on hypersonics under Defense Pact. So also I didn't know that they have a little cute acronym, AUKUS. I didn't really put that together until they put it together for me, but that's what you can call the alliance. Essentially, this is kind of like a rehash of an alliance they had about the submarine pact that kind of went a little bit belly up. Or it didn't really go belly up, but it went belly up in terms for Australia and France. And that like made things awkward for like America and the UK and France is like a little. These are the things that we were talking about before the war happened. Simpler times, but Essentially, this is an expansion on that pact. They are going to be working on building more hypersonic missile technology and more defense for said technology, because apparently we're lacking. And the U.S., any kind of big hegemon imperialistic power, does not like being second in the arms race. They just get really upset about it. Apparently, I found out about this week, but China has a specialized hypersonic missile. It's kind of like a combination situation. Essentially, they are using technology that allows the missile to fly in like low Earth orbit, and then pop back into normal atmosphere, whatever, and then hit the target. So essentially, it's a missile that is fast enough and like technologically agile enough. I'm not using the right words here, but like it allows it to hit wherever they want to hit quickly, efficiently, and I believe that they can do it like multiple times the system that they have in place. That's a big concern to us. We don't like that, and the fact that we are really behind, because in a lot of regards we spent 20 years in Afghanistan fighting a whole kind of normal ground war, while countries like Russia worked on their hypersonics and like China worked on their hypersonics. And so in the Reuters article, it focuses more on the Russia part, just because they've introduced hypersonics into the Ukraine invasion. But I mean, more or less, I feel like that's like an example kind of situation. They brought it in to test the weapons out in real live battle. They didn't need to do it. They usually, I think, are using other kinds of missiles and stuff like that to do what they do. But it essentially is just kind of highlighting our inadequacies. I think it's definitely a conservative point. I heard Matt Gaetz railing in some kind of fucking video blurb thing. It was some kind of congressional thing. I really wasn't paying that much attention. I was doing other shit. But he was railing and talking about how we've let ourselves get so behind because we've been worried about being woke or something. It was weird. Politicians are weird, man. But definitely, I'm sure we are going to rise to the challenge. So I imagine that's why this pact has kind of been formed, and they're probably going to be escalating. And I think they're already on to things, already testing things. It's just probably going to be more and more as we go further. So that was fun. I like talking about big tech, big bombs. And some local news, though. Well, not local, but international. I guess national. There you go. That's the word I can use. There we are. I got this from the Sacramento Bee. Also, Syracuse.com. Second suspect arrested in Sacramento mass shooting is brother of man arrested on Monday. So there was a big shooting, if you had not heard about. Smiley Martin, 27, and DeAndre Martin, who I believe is 26, were booked individually this week in a shooting that killed 6 and wounded 12. There was a lot of confusion in the initial reporting, like I believe the day it happened. People weren't sure if it was like an individual shooting all of these people, and then I think it like pretty much quickly kind of became revealed that it was like, oh, it was multiple factions, but people didn't know really what it was about. I believe that there was an altercation at a nightclub or something like that kind of spilled out and carried on, and then went on throughout the city, and then multiple people were shot and killed. Let's see here. Yeah, I have the names of the men and women killed. I got this from the Syracuse side. Jontea Alexander, 21. Melinda Davis, 57. Yamil Martinez Ariane Andrade, 21. And then there was Sergio Harris, 38. Joshua Hoy Lucchesi, 32, and Devizia Turner, 29. I'm sure that there's going to be more to this case. I think there's definitely more suspects that are, being apprehended or investigated, what have you. And I'm sure more details are going to come out about the shooting. I don't know if it is still going to make front page news, but I do know if whatever else I do find, I definitely want to talk about it. It's crazy when these shootings kind of pop off here, there, anywhere. But yeah, my thoughts and prayers go out to the families involved in all this shit. Really fucking sucks to hear about. On some other news that sucks to fucking hear about. Got this from CNN Politics. Oklahoma legislature passes near total ban on abortion. So this is a big womp womp. Kind of just this expansion has kind of been coming and cranking out since Texas has kind of been doing its thing with its hot to trot bill, and then it just kind of follows throughout a lot of the southern republics, what have you. Any kind of high conservative area then wants to adopt it. I mean, you see it in Ohio too with this kind of shit. We are railing these kind of things along. It's fucking gross. But the bill is Senate Bill 612. It would make performing an abortion or attempting to perform the procedure a felony punishable by maximum fine of $100,000 or maximum 10 years in state prison, or both. I believe Kevin Stint, who is a Republican governor, has previously promised to sign every bill limiting abortion that has come across his desk. So it's kind of seemingly a done data. Also, most of these bills, I believe, usually make a stipulations for, or exceptions for rape and incest. This does not. They're just nah. It does say, under the bill, women would not be criminally charged or convicted for the death of her unborn child. The measure would not prohibit the use, sale, prescription, or administration of contraceptives. But Jim Olson, who is a Republican state representative, he goes on to say, though, that rape and incest is a horrible crime. And though the baby is conceived in a horrible situation, that it still has a right to life. The baby should not be liable for the sins of the father. It is still a life. What the? That's some gross ass fucking ick shit to me. What the fuck? I get it. You can be Christian, you can be conservative, and you want to preserve life as you know it, and yada, yada, fucking yada. But at the end of the day, even if you're breaking it down from a scientific fucking perspective, that thing is not, it's not a baby yet. It's not a baby. It is not far along enough to be considered a functioning human thing, a being, whatever you want to call it. And this is not even your choice. It's very strange and it's very odd that people want to control the anatomy of others in that way. I find it so fucking bizarre. It's always going to irk me. It's always going to drive me fucking crazy. And it just sucks that these kind of bills in these areas just get just funneled through. It's so hard to fight. I think the margin was 70-44, so it's just once this kind of stuff hits, then it just keeps going and going and getting worse. In other states, kind of echoing these kind of things. Got this from, where did I get this from? I think this is USA Today. Yeah. But Governor Kay Ivey signs bills targeting transgender youth in Alabama. So this isn't abortion, obviously, but this is just another conservative rallying cry. Hey, we got to stop, this transgender gay culture, yada, 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 this LGBTQ narrative from affecting and poisoning our youth. And so they go from the youth and they attack the issues from there because they feel like that's a safe moral ground to fight about. Essentially, the first one that we're going to talk about is Senate Bill 184. This would subject doctors to 10 years in prison for providing puberty blockers and hormones to transgender youth. I think she has a quote here too. Let's see. There are very real challenges facing our young people, especially with today's social pressures in modern culture. I believe very strongly that if the good Lord made you a boy, you are a boy. And if he made you a girl, you are a girl. And it's just that statement alone right there is like, you've already fucked me raw here because it's blended church state talk. I hate that. I hate that. Like, I'm sure your constituents, yes, they get to say, like, this is my person, I back them. But it's just like, that's not how that should be. It's so gross. But I get it. I mean, these are talking points that her constituents do like. Like, the people who did vote, they want her to talk that good shit. Say that shit. Put it up on God. So that's what they're doing. Now, granted, puberty blockers, these kind of things, they are not doing anything that is like permanent. You can get back off of those in a reversible process. These are not things that if a child, if a young adult is saying, hey, I would like to go through this process and try this out because I do not feel comfortable in this body I'm in, they should be allowed to do that because it's not killing, it's not stifling anything here. Hold on, I'm getting thirsty talking all this shit. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU of Alabama, let's see, Lambada Legal and the Transgender Law Center said in a statement Thursday that they would file suit as soon as Ivy signed the bill. So, I mean, she's going to catch some kind of static about it, but that's not affecting the passing or the stopping of the bill. It's just like, it's just going to get discussed and maybe there might be penalties. I don't know how that really works. We'll see. But regardless, it's not going to, unless there's like a pause put on, then, this is going to go in effect and it's going to be something that like immediately starts affecting people. Let's see. Yeah, Class C felony. Yeah, punishable for 10 years in prison. That's ridiculous. And then there's the other bill that they have here, and this is House Bill 322, would require school children to use the bathrooms of their birth sex. And people have kind of like equivocated this to like the Don't Say Gay bill that's like in Florida. But essentially, and that's just because the bill got amended by Shell Nutt. I guess it's like another person in the House who's like an author in the bill. But it's to prevent discussions of sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 5th grade that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate. Which is like akin to what was going on in Florida with that bill. Also, too, I think with the puberty blocker thing, it is till 19, which I also thought was very strange because like it's like an extra year on top of it, like for what? Emphasis, so that you can really have an extra year of soul searching. It's so dumb. And also they add surgeries, like you can't have the surgery until that age too, but it's like healthcare providers are like, we don't even do that. Like, that's not even a thing. Like, that's a non-reversible thing, so that's not even on the menu. But yeah, I wanted to add that. I kind of forgot that in the blur of the moment. But Ivy has said that in the statement, the characterization of that amendment is wrong. And here's another banger quote from Ivy. We are talking about 5-year-olds, for crying out loud. We need to focus on what matters. Core instruction like reading and math. Like, yo, no one's talking about this shit. They are just trying to do reading and math. Like, the only thing this does is it jams up people who are already living the lifestyle. Like, if you are a gay person or a trans person, it makes it harder for you to teach and perform in that environment because you now have to self-censor yourself and be aware, and like potentially the students can be like, oh, I have a question, I'm curious, I don't understand, and you can't explain it because that's potentially going to get you in trouble or fired or whatever. And that's wild to me. It's wild to me that this is like a wildfire idea that is spreading across the conservative mindscape, that like this is how we should treat other people. just so that we can be right, that we can feel better about ourselves, more Christian. I don't know. I don't get it. I the only way I get it is for the people who are up top pushing the narrative, like schlepping the schlock, because it gets you points on the board. Ted Cruz does all the stupid, lame shit that he does so that he can get likes on Twitter. And he knows that those likes on Twitter hopefully will get to more votes, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be president of the world someday. I don't know, but like, it's strange and it sucks. And speaking of strange, weird things that suck, but it's definitely a lighter note that we'll end on. Elon Musk will join Twitter's board of directors. He moneyed his way all the way to the top of the Twitter sphere. Now, I follow Elon Musk on my little podcast account. I don't follow him on my main account because with the algorithms and everything, you would get pushed his dumb, like, divorced dad memes and posts all the time. Because that's definitely what happens to my burner account, because it's like the only most relevant account that I follow. And it's just like all the time stupid shit like that, and like, and or people talking about Elon Musk to like try to drive up their like Dogecoin or something. But essentially, Elon Musk has gotten into financial trouble with his tweets. He did like a little 420 blaze it thing about one of his like stock options in his company, and it got a lot of attention. And I mean, he was just memeing, but the FCC more or less accused him, or the SEC, I don't know. I think it's the FCC. The people who track money and make sure everything's on the level, they accused him of like fraud. And he's like, what the fuck? No. And they took him to court, and more or less they wound up having to pay fines, both the company Tesla and Elon Musk. And then also, he had to get more or less babysitted on his Twitter account. Now, he's come out and more or less said it's like, I can tweet whatever I want. It's just that I can't do financial trades without, the approval. But anyway, this is kind of something that sparked a big to-do with Elon Musk. And I feel like he's rallied and made big rallying cries on the internet, especially lately. He asked, do you believe that like Twitter promotes free speech? Like, it was like some kind of vague post kind of thing like that. And or like, do they rigorously protect free speech? And essentially, I mean, that's kind of like a dig at the situation where they've like, taken Donald Trump off of their app and all that kind of stuff. And, he's come out and said that he's like, I wouldn't have done that. But anyway, fast forward to now and all this bullshit. He has invested and gotten up to 9% in stock in the company. And essentially, that kind of triggered a situation where Twitter's just like, okay, yeah, you could just still be a passive holder, but like, why don't you just come on and be a chair? Like, be on the member of the board. Also, I got this from Yahoo Finance, the main article. I'm also just fleecing a little bit from the Journal podcast that I listen to. Pretty deep shit, good shit. Nice little 15-minute, 20-minute tops. It's nice. I like it. But essentially, the CEO, what is his name? Or is it Chief Executive? Yes, Chief Executive. Parag Agrawal. He is put up a post here. He said, I'm excited to share that we are appointing Elon Musk to our board. Through conversations with Elon in recent weeks, it became clear to us that he would bring great value to our board. Oh yeah, and it was the SEC, I'm sorry, who he had the bigger fuffle with, and now he had to get his tweets babysat. Trying to see if I have the quote handy. The old, former CEO, Jack Dorsey, he had added that he believes Musk cares deeply about the planet and Twitter. Musk and Agrawal lead with their hearts, he says. I I think everyone that was mentioned in that statement is kind of dumb. So, I mean, take what you want there. But, it is what it is. I mean, I think a lot of people are abuzz about it. People are hype. I mean, we'll see. I would hope that he is going to leave it as it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Twitter is like the best app. I don't care if it changes or doesn't change. It's just another social media thing. I think if anything, it does show people who kind of like favor Twitter, thinking that this is like somehow a bastion as opposed to like Facebook not being, because like Mark Zuckerberg sucks. Like they all suck, dude. Like they're all dumb. Either you're using them or you don't. Like either you want the brain rot or you don't want the brain rot. You pick and choose. It is an interesting twist. Him being on the board, like I said, I've heard some speculations like he won't do anything at all. That he's just kind of made the move to kind of shore up in the app that he uses the most in terms of like a platform, because he does make change. He does make waves with that app. Twitter, him, Tesla, it's almost all kind of tied. So this is almost like the official bonding of such. But maybe he might be so vocal and bold and changes actually do happen. And, maybe Twitter will look different in the years to come. We'll see. Let's see. On that note, I've been talking so much. Ooh, But thank you for tuning in. Thanks for having me in your hearts, in your ears, in your home, in your car, wherever. I don't know. If you'd like to help contribute, become a part of the team, a newsie, if you will, I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You can get on there. You'll get Discord access. I'm trying to build a community kind of vibe, get things going. Maybe we'll start some projects. You also get a shout out every month. Shout your name out. Shout out to Stephanie. Hey, boo. Queen of the Newsies. But also you can use a shout out for just like special plugs or whatever you want, or I can talk about a specific news thing, whatever, it is. I can do that for you. If you just want to reach me on the dry way, if you will, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. I'm on all the socials. You know them, you love them. I'm there with the news. So yeah, that's about it. I'll see you next week, hopefully soon, for some more good news. And I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.